I'm gonna tell you guys the story about how I begged my way into USC, the University of Southern California. And no, this is not college admission scandal. So having grown up in downtown Chicago and now living in downtown Chicago again, I always get asked why USC when people find out I went there. And my response to them is always, why not USC? The culture of the school was the #1 priority for me, and it didn't matter how close or far from home it was. Since I went to such a tiny, weirdo private school, I really wanted a college with big school spirit, big sports, big Greek life, big social life, but also had that work hard, play hard vibe. And honestly, I wanted a school that had that prestige factor, that when people heard the name of the school, they were impressed by it. So USC being in sunny, beautiful Los Angeles, having huge school spirit, huge sports, huge Greek life, but also very competitive academically, and having an acceptance rate of about 13%, it naturally became my dream school my freshman year of high school. And it stayed my dream school ever since. Starting probably my freshman year of high school, I started following USC admissions on all of their social media, and I was in the loop whenever they came to Chicago. Usually in the spring, USC would hold these admissions events in Chicago for high schoolers that were interested. And of course, I went to every single one of those since the start of my freshman year of high school. And at every single one of those events, I always made sure I said hi and had a conversation with the regional admissions director of Chicago for USC. It was this woman. Additionally, that same woman would come to my private school and hold a little meeting for kids at my high school who were interested in USC. And of course, I was always at every single one of those front row, and I always said hi to her then too. It was the fall of my senior year, and at this point, I believe I had already submitted my application to USC, and there was one last meeting where the regional admissions director came to my private school again to present USC to students. And at this point, this woman knew my face and my name so well after so many years of talking to her and meeting her. I remember I was so nervous and shaky and overwhelmed and anxious during this last meeting because I thought it was like my last chance to potentially make a good impression on this woman to get into USC. And oh my God, I remember at the end of this meeting, after all the other students had left the classroom that this meeting was in, it was just me and the USC admissions regional director, and I just had one last conversation with her, and I was like, I think I said something along the lines of, I want you to know that like USC is my #1. There's no other school that I want to go to more than USC. And if you accept me, I'm there. And I literally started tearing up, like crying to her when I had this conversation with her. It was mortifying. And I didn't mean to cry, but like I was genuinely just so emotional over getting into USC that I cried right in front of her. She totally could have looked at me like, oh my God, this girl is psycho. Like she's a weirdo, like get her away from me. But honestly, I think because she had seen me over the years so much and kind of had gotten to know me a little bit, the look on her face was more just like an empathetic mother or a sympathetic mother. And I walked out of there just so mortified, so embarrassed that I had accidentally cried in front of this woman because of how emotional I was. But later, I found out from my college counselors at my high school, the director then had a meeting with them after, and she walks in and she's like, guys, please tell me that Grace has the stats to get in. Please tell me that Grace has the scores to get in, which fortunately I did. My counselors like showed her my transcript and everything. I ended up getting in that spring. So that's the story about how I cried to the Chicago USC admissions director and I ended up getting into USC. Although to be clear, I was completely qualified. I had a 1420 on the SAT on a scale of 1600. I had all my extracurriculars. I had good grades in high school. I was completely qualified, but I was just so anxious to get in because USC truly had been my dream school ever since my freshman year. If you're applying to college right now, my advice to you is do not underestimate the power of networking with your regional admissions director. Go to every single admissions event you can to get your face and your name in front of that director. I truly do feel like it made an impact on me getting accepted to my dream school.